I'm ecstatic to welcome in Dr. Layla Mintas, who is the US CEO for PlayUp. You can follow her on Twitter at Dr. Mintas, and you can follow the sportsbook at PlayUp_USA. Layla, it's a pleasure to welcome you on and chat with you today.
Thank you, Ian. So nice to chat with you and good seeing you again.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a while. As I said, it's been since July since you announced that you were going to get into the Colorado sports betting market. And now you are live in the Colorado sports betting market.
Finally live officially since Monday. So just the second day today. And we couldn't be more excited. So Colorado is the first market where we launched in the US. So yeah, couldn't be more excited about that.
You mentioned the excitement. How excited are you to finally get this up and rolling?
I mean, it's been a great journey so far. So I have to say, Colorado is a great state. The regulators are very nice to work with, very supportive. We selected Colorado as the first state to launch for many reasons. One reason was just technically, it was the first state we signed up. So we signed a contract with Bull Durham, which is a local casino, obviously, with a long history in Colorado. So we're very proud of that relationship. But then also Colorado has a lot of potential. We have seen it over the last months. With just January last month, over or almost 300 million on handle. So that's great. I think 97% of that almost on online.
Yep,
so for
it is.
It's crazy. An online brand like PlayUp, we couldn't be happier about that development, right? So we do online only. We don't do any retail, and I think the strategy is just very timely at the moment.
When we first talked, you told me that you want PlayUp to be seen as innovative, a young and fresh company that comes in and wants to disrupt the market. We want to come in and we don't want to come in and copy and paste what's out there already. We want to disrupt the market. How do you plan to do that?
That vision hasn't changed. So that's the number one, the highest priority is just to disrupt what's out there, right? And we're speaking in the US, we're speaking about a very young market. It's almost legalized for 3 years now. And more and more markets obviously are opening up. And the team in Australia, the actually leadership team that founded PlayUp in Australia has always been very innovative. To give you one example, PlayUp was the first real money fantasy platform in Australia where people actually could do daily fantasy and had to sign up for that and had to pay in order to do that. And I see you smile. And since then, we have been the biggest platform in Australia. So, and when it comes to daily fantasy, over time we added horse racing, sports betting, and other fantastic products to that offering. And I'm planning to bring the same ideas basically to the US. So what Australia has done in terms of fantasy products that don't exist anywhere in the US as of today, on horse racing, on esports, and other great products. We will not bring them one-to-one into the US, but we will probably take some of the learnings that we had in Australia and adjust that to the US markets. I think the US is so specific, you cannot copy and paste anything that's out there in Europe or Asia or Australia and just bring it in. You have to kind of like customize the solution for the US, and that's what we're going to do. But we have a lot of experience through the Australian market already, working in a very high regulated market, having sports fans that are mainly interested in US sports. So to give you one example, we've been like our risk and trading team has been dealing with US sports for the last 7 years. So we know what we're doing on the risk and trading side when it comes to US sports. I'm personally from Europe, so I think I'm allowed to say that. We in Europe, we have soccer being the number one sport. We don't really understand US sports too much. It was a learning curve for me to understand it when I entered the US like many years ago. Now I actually love NFL much more than soccer. And
Nice.
yeah, but my point is, in order to do to trade basically US sports, you have to have people that understand that, and our team in Australia has been doing that forever. So we know what we're doing. We have a big advantage over European brands that come into the US, and yeah, I think that's one of the strengths that you will see. So our slogan is your best bet, and we want to prove that to be true. So we want to come in and actually offer very aggressive odds. We want to undercut the pricing that you currently see and really come in with great offers. But apart from that odds making, we also want to come in with excellent customer service. That is a big differentiator, I believe, especially as you have that learning curve when it comes to education about sports betting. We want to help the customer to sign up. We want to be very clear when we come up with bonuses on what are the conditions for that. We don't like to have like fine print that kind of like you have to read through and you probably don't understand, and you sign up and then you wake up and everything is a bit different than what you saw. So that's not us. So we want to be straightforward. We tell you what you get. And then once you sign up, you have only 3 clicks that you need in order to actually do a bet, to place a bet. I think that's another interesting thing about our offering. So it's easy, it should be fun, should be entertaining.
You mentioned you like the NFL more than soccer now, so I have to ask, is there a team that you follow more than any other?
It's difficult. I mean, not really. So I don't have a favorite team yet. I'm based in Las Vegas. That doesn't make it much easier for me. But I love the sport. I also love NBA. So I have hardly free time to watch any games at the moment. But if I could, I would prefer US sports over European sports for sure.
One of the things that surprised me when I talked with you for the launch story that came out on Monday, as you said, is that you're a premium brand that focuses on the high-end customer. What does that mean? And what does that allow you to do, since you have, as you say, a world-class risk and management team in place? What advantage does that give you over some of the other books that are already in the market?
Yeah, so PlayUp is a premium brand, so we focus more on quality than quantity, I would say. We like to take also customers that want to put in higher stakes, that want to do higher bets. At the end of the day, my experience being in sports betting since 2006, on a global level, and then probably for the last 8 years, more focus on the US market, is really that a lot of brands here in the US are afraid to take big bets. And that makes sense, right? So if you don't have a world-class risk and trading team and you rely maybe on an external vendor that does that for you, you don't want to take those bets on because it's risky. We believe that through the experience that we have had so far, and which we have proven in Australia, that we can actually take bigger bets on. So we are not afraid to do that. And that's why I'm saying we actually focus on the higher segment here. And kind of like, you will see us kind of like coming in with accepting bets that nobody else on the market would probably want to take on, which can be a great differentiator. So from my former experience, I know that big sports books often skip on those opportunities. We have been able to actually differentiate through that in Australia, and we think that makes sense also for the US, as I see that gap in the market currently.
And that seems to be one of the big talking points right now, is you get that discussion about the books limiting sharps. They're limiting those big bets. Is that something that you, not just Colorado, but something that you can bring once you start getting into some of these other markets, that you plan to get out there and say, you can do that here because we'll take it?
Yeah, exactly. So that's our strategy. We say we take it and we offer very attractive odds. And that's a great differentiator for Colorado. And then the next market we probably launch is New Jersey. So we're working through that at the moment. And we have secured probably 4 or 5 more markets, and some of them will be launched later this year. But I have to kind of like keep that for myself for now, but I will let you know very soon.
You mentioned the Colorado market. It hasn't been up since May 1st. It's already topped 1 billion, and they did that before even getting into January. What is possible for this market?
Oh, it's going to be a very big market. So that's what I told you already when we spoke last summer.
You
So
did.
for some time, I always believe that Colorado has a lot of potential, and it probably kind of like surprised many players in the market, but it succeed expectations really. And we will see that growing. What's very exciting is, as I said, 97% on online, which is of course due to COVID and the pandemic. And we see that in many markets. That couldn't be better timing for us as an online brand. But then also you have 4 major sports teams, right? And you have great, excellent college teams as well. So historically, a lot of enthusiastic sports fans that like to bet and like to be entertained, right? And that's all the ingredients you need. And then from a sports books perspective, having remote sign-ups, that's a big advantage. You don't have to work like in Vegas, right, where we are based. You don't have to walk into a casino and sign up in person. You can actually do that when you're home, right? Or wherever you are. And that's a big advantage. And then also the regulations overall are very industry friendly. So when it comes to tax rates, etc. So our goal is to actually become a profitable sportsbook. So that's another big differentiator from our competitors in the market. So not on day one, obviously, but over time, we want to be profitable as we are in Australia. So we're not here to actually burn money. We're actually here to make money at the end of the day.
We talked about the experienced bettors, the ones that want the high-end bettors. How about the new customers, the ones who are on the fence? What would you say to them if they're unsure, they've seen it, they've read about it at playcolorado.com, they've seen people talking about it on social media with the various news agencies that discuss it. What would be your advice to people who are on the fence but are unsure, but they're thinking about it?
I think they should start really looking into sports books by kind of like betting $5-10 bets first and kind of like see how they feel about it, how it plays out. In terms of PlayUp, it should be very easy for them. So we have a very user-friendly interface. As I said, around 80% of our bets can be done mainly with 3 clicks. So mainly done from the home screen, if you will. And that's very easy to do. So if you need more than 3 clicks, there's space for improvement. I mean, play around with the app, right? But at the end of the day, it should be easy. And then we have an excellent customer service. If people have actually questions about it, they can call and get more information. But generally, I would say for people that are new to sports betting, I would say start with very small bets and see that you understand the system first.
One of the other things that really stood out to me when we first talked in July was, and this could be its own story, but the untapped market of female sports bettors. Do you have a better idea of how you're going to try to attract them, not just in Colorado, but across the country?
It's actually being one of very few females in the sports betting industry, not only in the US, but globally. It's like a personal passion, really, to get that done. And I have a couple of ideas, and I'm working on actually a project here as well. But it's too early to speak about it. But I think that the female market is an untapped market, and you have to come up with great and innovative, outside the box ideas on how you can tap into the market. And you will not see that in phase one of our product, right? It's now getting live, getting into the market, and then we add more products while we go. We actually working on, we're working on so many different things at the moment, but the female user base is one of the highest priorities that I want to get into sooner than later, but not on day one.
I have to ask, what is the deal with Colorado and table tennis?
So I knew that you would ask me that question, and I mean, everyone is like excited about Colorado and table tennis, right? But we offer 150 different sports. So table tennis is one of those. Of course, we do esports betting. We have very interesting parlays. So there are many different products, but table tennis is included there for sure. Very important. And then the other point I would make in terms of our app is that we have something that we call traveling wallet. So if you're in Colorado, you download the app and you travel across the border to another state where we're live, and we are expanding very aggressively over the next couple of months. You can basically use the same app. You don't have to re-download another app in the next state that you're in. So you use your Colorado app and then use it for New Jersey or other markets. And I think that's a great advantage. So that traveling wallet, that makes it easier. You don't want to have like 30 different apps from 30 different books at the end of the day. So use only the PlayUp one, that's enough. And then the other point I would make is what we call single wallet. So you will have one single wallet for sports betting. And then while we add more content to our app over time, so that's all going to be announced very soon, you can do all the different content solutions that we provide through one app. So we're looking at the moment, we're looking to do horse racing in the US. We're looking, I mean, we're the biggest one when it comes to fantasy sports in Australia. So one day we will have fantasy most likely included as well. And there are more fun stuff to come. So you will be able to, with that one app, you will be able to place the bet on horse racing, sports betting, fantasy sport, and everything else through one app. And you don't have multiple apps. So I think that's another fun piece about the PlayUp app.
And it ties into that user experience that you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. The user experience should be smooth, less fragmented, and that's why you have to have only one app and not like multiple apps. So that should make the life of the sports fan easier at the end of the day.
Back to table tennis real quick. Do you see that as a sport that this sticks, that Colorado will continue to bet on it just because of not so much the attraction of it, but just the live betting of it and the fact that games are so quick and payouts, you get them basically instantaneous. It's not like an NFL game that takes 3.5 hours. Is that one of the reasons you think it's so appealing and will continue to be appealing?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what you see often with tennis as well, right? Tennis in general is a very big betting sport as well. And I think many people didn't watch table tennis before the pandemic hit and traditional sport was suspended. So it kind of like was created through traditional sport being suspended. But since then, people kind of like started playing table tennis and they enjoyed it, right? And that's why I think it will stay. It's kind of like a little bit the casino experience, if you will, where you're sitting in front of your slot machine and you're kind of like having that quick reaction. And that's a good thing about table tennis from an entertaining standpoint. So you are able to place a lot of bets in a small time frame. I think it will stay. Yeah, for sure.
Have you ever bet table tennis?
You will not believe me, but I didn't bet at all. I bet one time when I really started getting into sports betting long time ago. And since then, I've been always on contracts that don't allow me to bet too much. So that's why I'm like staying away from that. But yeah, with our own app, of course, test flight mode and kind of like betting without really placing money. That's fun stuff to do as well. By the way, we are also live with a free-to-play offering nationwide. So for people that want to probably get close to sports betting without actually placing money behind it, that could be a good alternative as well.
In terms of Colorado sports, the Denver Broncos have struggled the last couple of years. If they get back on top and they find their quarterback, or Drew Lock is able to be the guy that everyone hopes he is, could that lead the market to being even bigger and more attractive? Because what was fascinating to me is in the January handle, even with the NFL playoffs going on, NBA betting was the top sport. If the Broncos are able to get back, is that something that could even make the market take off even more?
Absolutely, yeah. That's a pattern that you always see. So when the local team is more successful, there's more excitement, so people bet more. So that's kind of like the usual way betting works. It's often also the opposite. If the local team doesn't make too well, then people get like frustrated and they kind of like don't even want to watch it anymore, right? So but yeah, so hopefully fingers crossed that that's working out.
And of course, with the market being one that allows fans to wager on who will be the next quarterback of the Denver Broncos, I have to ask, you're in the sports betting business, are the Broncos going to get Deshaun Watson?
So odds look very good for that. So I would say yes.
Oh, how about that? As a Broncos fan, that makes me excited. You mentioned the states coming up. You got New Jersey coming up. I won't ask you about the ones that are coming up, but to finally get this rolling and get the app out in front of people, what's next for you and for PlayUp as the rollout of your premium brand continues?
Yeah, we're very aggressive on market access at the moment. So we're working to get into every market in the US that allows online sports betting. And we made our way through a lot of states already, and they're going to be announced very soon. We're very excited about more relationships, partnerships in the market that we're working on at the moment. So there's so much happening behind the scenes at the moment, and I can't wait to announce that very, very soon. But overall, our strategy is very simple. So betting should be easy, should be fun. That's why we are in the market. We wanna be different, and we have a high ambitions, of course, in terms of what we wanna where we want to get to, and we will roll out that strategy step by step. And we're very excited to have finally Colorado being live, being the first market, and there are many others to come. But I think Colorado is a very interesting market with a high potential, and it's so far the app seems to be working out very well in the market. So we're very excited to see first numbers here. And yeah, we have a few interesting bonus programs out there as well. So that's where we are as of today. But yeah, more markets will come soon.
And then last thing, with it being Responsible Gambling Month, how big of a focus is that for PlayUp and for you to offer that, to preach it, to just offer that as a way for users to know that it's available?
Yeah, absolutely. You see that on the app immediately. And also for Colorado, we haven't signed up a partnership yet with the professional sports team. We are obviously always looking for partnerships. But to give you one example with the New Jersey Devils, where we signed a deal earlier this year. So we are the official partner of the New Jersey Devils. And every logo that you see everywhere, you have always the responsible gaming message on it, and that's required by regulation, which is very important. But then also it needs to be on there because sports betting is just about to get legalized in more and more states in the US. So it's new for so many people, and you want to clearly avoid anyone kind of like taking harm from sports betting. We always have to keep in mind that it's not only fun, it also comes with risk. And the last thing you want to do as a serious operator is having people that shouldn't bet to be on your offering. So that's something we take very, very serious, of course.
Awesome. Well, Layla, I appreciate you taking the time to do this and chatting with me about your launch in Colorado finally. And I'm looking forward to chatting with you more about how you plan to attract those female customers as your launches and you move into your second phases. So I'm looking forward to it. So thank you.
Thank you for having me, and check out our PlayUp app and let me know what you think.
And make sure you follow her on Twitter at Dr. Mintas and the Sportsbook at PlayUp_USA.
Thank you, Ian.